Start by saying that you're here this afternoon because I signed the ICE agreement. Yes, I signed the damn thing because we really had to. We were put in a tough spot. I can't let our entire board of county commissioners and myself be removed from office. I say that with all sincerity because of the role, the responsibilities that we have here within this community to take care of our community and look out for our residents. I did not want to be in a position where the governor will have the opportunity to insert his minions in the roles to lead this county. Because of that, with the advice of the county attorney's office, we decided today that we're still several days away from Tuesday. I thought that it was urgent that we needed to take action now to preclude the possibility that the elected body here within Orange County could be removed from office. I hope you understand that. That was a calculated risk that we had. Obviously, if people who have no elected responsibility to our county would be inserted or put in place, that would be catastrophic to the continuity of government here within Orange County.
Our tax dollars for a valet service for ICE to send our brothers and sisters to unknown black sites throughout the state. So, then just a few days ago, Mayor Deming circumvented the county commission vote and decided he's going to sign this agreement, which deputizes local police to act as federal agents under Donald Trump's control.
Boo!
Yeah. It also gives local corrections officers the power to transport inmates to other detention facilities, including the Everglades concentration camp and the Crone Detention Center in Miami. Two horrific, unsanitary, inhumane black sites that operate with full impunity and totally in the dark, as many here have tried to go and see what's going on and have been turned away. Of course, Ron DeSantis knows all about operating black sites, as he provided legal cover for multiple torturous CIA black sites during the War on Terror in the mid-2000s. He was there in Guantanamo when 3 prisoners of war actually died. They were found hung by their wrists naked, their ankles shackled, and cloth material stuffed down their throat. You won't be surprised to know that it's his signature on the report that says those 3 died by suicide.
Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. And I just want to touch on this real quick. I saw this earlier today. As it says, the Orange County mayor forced to sign ICE transport agreement under extreme duress. All right. And as you see, it's a, so-called black man, right? That is the mayor of Orange County in Florida. And, I showed the, this clip, and I showed the other clip of, what seemed like some type of a protest or, what have you, where, the citizens of that county were, speaking out at, this mayor, going back on his word, saying that he wasn't going to sign, the agreement with the governor at the order of Trump, right, to basically be allowed to let federal, law enforcement, come into, that region, along with federalizing local law enforcement, right, to be able to come in there and, basically, do their raids and transport who they deem to be, migrants, what have you, out of that, town, right, or out of that city. So, this guy, he speaks on it, right? He tells his constituents, right, and the people that he is supposed to be residing over, that Yeah, I had to sign it, right? I was forced to sign it because if I didn't, then they were basically going to, take certain action to get him and anybody, and all the other people that were so-called appointed there out of power, right? And the governor was going to put his own, as he says, his own minions in power in that city, right? And this is ultimately shows the how these people that our people look to as leaders are not the true leaders of Israel. Okay, because here it is, he bowed the knee, right? He made the covenant because he didn't want his job to be taken away, right? He felt threatened, and he tried to make it seem like, oh, I had to do this, because, I'm the best, person to be in this position. And if I didn't sign it, they were going to take me out of this position, yada, 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 all these things, right? But at the end of the day, judgment was perverted, right? And based off of a bribe, right? Or it is basically a bribe, which that's something that, according to scripture is a unlawful thing, right? You're not supposed to pervert judgment, all right? You're not supposed to take bribes. Matter of fact, I got that here in the book of Micah chapter 3, verse 11. It says, you know what? Just start at verse 9. It says, "Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob." All right. And, these politicians, okay, that, are in these positions, they are looked at as heads of, the community of Israelites, right? Here in Babylon, even though they're still playing by the rules of Esau, right? They still have to, follow their their agenda and all these things, but yet our people look to get these people in office because they think that they have their best interest in heart, when in reality, right, all they care about is their own comfort, right? They only care about their own ability to excel. They don't actually have the people's best interest in mind. And this guy, right, in this situation shows you that, because he is saying this, right? And I don't know who he is or whatever. Like I said, I just seen this earlier. He is saying that he had to sign it against his own will, right? But if you as a man and you got principles and you got standards and you got morals, there should be nothing that should be able to dictate you to curve, right, or bend your morals. You see? And this goes to show you that these people, their morals are, not rooted in righteousness, right? Their morals are not rooted in true judgment and justice. And that is who Yahweh, right, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is going to set forth as the true rulers, right? Starting with Yahweh Shai, okay, and with Yahweh Shai, the house of David, that is who he is going to set up as the true rulers, because there is no amount of threats, there's no amount of money, right? There's no amount of anything that will dictate our standards and morals and put us at a position for us to do something that we know isn't right, but because we don't want to lose certain positions, right, or we don't want to lose certain comfortabilities, we're going to go against what is right. No, that's a wicked individual, you see. And this is something that has always been a part of the nation of Israel, where you had the wicked priests or the wicked rulers, the wicked judges that would do these things, right? They will pervert judgment, okay, so it could fit their own interest. So reading on, it says, "Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob, and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all equity." See? It says you hate justice and twist all that is right. It says they build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. Because this guy, him signing this agreement, which you heard on the in the other video, right? All of basically with the power that he signed away for the governor, which is DeSantis, which he's in league with Trump, basically allowing Trump to have federal jurisdiction over state, right? State laws. And this is, really what we're seeing is the actual makings of a martial law state. All right. Because your states, that's why it's called the United States of America, because your states, every state has different laws, right? Yeah, you do have the federal government, but there are laws that, are supposed to be on the United States books, where the federal government isn't able to just come in and dictate, right, the laws of each state. Now, when you have what you had going on right now, you have certain states that are in league, right? Certain governors of certain states are in league with what Trump is doing, right? The Republican states. Then those governors let Trump use the federal government in their states. But even within those states that are predominantly Republican, you have certain counties that are Democratic, which is why in Texas and also in Florida, you had this whole thing, about the damn, I just said this yesterday and now I can't remember, redistricting of the maps. Okay. And they're doing that to ultimately make more of the state Republican, so-called Republican. So it gives more power to the quote unquote Republican Party, which whether it's Republican or Democratic, the people that are in, the authority, they all answer to the same, heads. Okay. Right. The central bankers, right. The lobbyists, right. Your APACs, your the Amalekites, they answer to the Amalekites. Okay. But within these certain counties and states, you have Jake that are in positions of, leadership. You see, like this man. But yet, what do? They don't stand in as we're seeing, what Trump is doing is he is formulating an assault on Israel, which where the scriptures names it as Jacob's trouble. OK, this is something that, the men of the Lord have been prophesying that was going to take place here in Babylon the Great. And we're witnessing the manifestation of that. Right. But yet you still have certain Jakes that see these things are happening. Right. They see, Israel, the so-called black and brown people, which once again, that's the southern and northern kingdom of Israel. They see that they're getting targeted specifically. Right. By this cruel Lord, pursuant to Isaiah, the 19th chapter. And instead of standing up and, being a leader with courage to stand up for the people, what does he do? He takes the bribe, right? He perverts judgment because he didn't want his place to be taken away. So let's read on. Verse 11, it says, the heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire, and the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean on the Lord and say, is not the Lord among us? None evil can come upon us. Right. When we read that in NLT, it says your leaders make decisions based on bribes. Point blank, period. Right. And that's the main point of this verse, that your leaders are making decisions based on bribes. And they may not have necessarily said, here, take this $100,000 and, sign this deal, or they may have. But boy, the way that is being presented is they told him that if you don't sign this deal, we're going to take you out of power. And that, in essence, is a reward that he has, that he is being threatened to be taken from him, right? So it's the same thing that is happening, right? And you also have in the book of John, right? So that was in the Old Testament. And now when you even go into the New Testament underneath the Roman rulership, you had the same thing going on. John chapter 11. John chapter 11, verse 48. It says, let's start at 47. It says, then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council, because these were the individuals, because we were a province of Rome during this time, right? So the leaders of the people at this time, we didn't have a king. Okay, you had Herod, but he was basically put there by the Romans, right, to be the ruler over the people. But a lot of Israel didn't recognize and didn't they didn't recognize Herod as the actual ruler, right? You had the chief priests and the Pharisees, that were looked at as more so the leaders of the people of Jake back then, because they Israel knew that the Herodians weren't actual Israelites. Okay, so it says, then the Pharisees a council, right? The high council. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, the Sanhedrin. That's what it was called. And said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles, speaking about Yahushua. Verse 48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. Right? So that's what you got going on right there. That you have the leaders of the people that these people chose, right? These aren't the leaders that were appointed, right, by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, but these are political leaders. All right. And Israel is supposed to be ruled by spiritual leaders. You see? And even the spiritual leaders that Israel chose, like your TD Jakes, right? They all basically they teach for hire, right? They are not, once again, shepherds that are looking for the benefit of the flock, right? They're eating the fat of the flock. So as this council said, if we leave Yahushua alone, then the Romans are going to come and take away both our place and our nation. They're going to take us out of power. See? And that's the mindset that, these political jakes have, man. And more, you're going to see how they're going to just fall right in line with the agenda that Esau has, because they are hirelings, right? They don't truly care about, the you Israelites. And we've been trying to tell you that, okay, that these people don't give a damn about you. They already are in league with Esau. In order to be in the political field, right? In order to to be, in that arena, you have to get down with Esau's agenda, and they're okay and comfortable with doing that because of the goodies that come with it, right? The prestige and the name and the fame that comes with that. First Maccabees 1 verse 11. It says, and in those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. Well, that's what he just did, right? He said what? Yeah, I signed the damn thing. Okay. He made a covenant with the wicked, with the heathen, right? It says, round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Okay. And that's what they don't want, right? They don't want to deal with the backlash, right? They don't want to deal with the affliction. They don't want to, and that's what comes with the territory. But once again, only righteous rulers will be able to stand bold, right? And stand with courage in the face of, perversion, in the face of, the threats of this devil. You see, because those men, their standards their rock that they're standing on is Yahushua. And at the end of the day, hey, the scripture speaks about what? Striving for truth until death. All right. And like I said, that is who the Lord is going to raise up to be the rulers. Because these guys, this Uncle Sambo Tom ass nigga, he ain't it, man. And just like your Jesse Jacksons and your Al Sharptons, right? And all of these political leaders that Jake, look to for help, they haven't never done a damn thing for you, and they never will. All they do is come, say a speech, galvanize, through vain words, right? Give you a feel good message, as the scripture says. They have healed my people healed my people slightly by saying peace, peace, when there is none. But now we're in a time where they're signing agreements to let Esau run down on you, let Esau bring that wrath on you, just so that he can escape the wrath of Esau. But the scripture speaks about that as well, right? Making that a covenant, an agreement with death, thinking that you're saving your own ass, but nah, the Lord got you sellouts, right? He got your number as well. All right. And hey, that goes to the sellouts of the people that know that they're Israelites as well, right? These false prophets, these false leaders that make covenants with Esau, right? That teach profane things, that teach the incorrect doctrine, that pervert doctrine purposely because they're getting paid, they're getting the back, right? Your IUICs, your ISUPKs, right? Your Sakaris. Hey, we're in a time where the Lord is about to judge the wicked of our people, man. So 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. Judgment shall begin at the house of Israel. See? This is Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. It says, you start at 14. It says, wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, right? And with hell are we at agreement. Now in Habakkuk, it likens this prideful man, right, whose soul is lifted up but is not upright in him. He says, what? He enlargeth his desires as death and is as hell. Okay. And I believe in Revelation, the 6th chapter, it speaks about the I believe it was the red horse, or it might have been a pale horse. Let me see. Yeah, that was that was a pale horse, right? That it says death and hell followed him. Okay, wait, but that's the spirit that Esau is coming in. See, because the red horse is Esau. It says he had power to take peace away from the earth, but the time that we're also in is the time of this pale horse, which says he had power over them, over the 4th part of the earth, to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth, right? The 4th part of the earth is representative of Babylon the Great, America. All right. But going back to the point here, this agreement with death and hell is speaking about America. Speaking about Esau. It says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come nigh unto us. See? So that's the mindset that this guy has in these political jakes, right, that are in these positions, that they're willing to sell out their people so that they could escape the destruction that is coming, right? They just escape the cruel Lord that is coming down. But nah, the Lord said that the wicked, right, was created for the day of evil. It says, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehoods have we hid ourselves. Okay. I'm going to jump. It says in verse 18, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. You see that? So when this devil comes through, guess what? You are not going to escape it, man. You're not going to escape this devil's wrath, right? And like I said, you false teachers out there, you're not going to escape this devil's wrath, because the scriptures tells you to never trust thine enemy. But here it is, you making agreements with this devil, thinking that oh yeah, he gonna do right by me. Have you not learned? All right. Has not history taught you that this devil will never, be upright? But see, in this last time, you're gonna find out, right? Because the Lord is gonna let his sword completely go loose on you, and the only ones that the Lord is going to protect and deliver from this sword is the ones that would stand for righteousness, right? Stand against the evildoers. Okay, the ones that are willing to lose their life, okay, in order to uphold righteousness and uphold the correct judgment and justice. All right, Ezekiel 22, verse 27, it says, her princes, you know what, I read it in the NLT, it says, your leaders are like wolves who tear apart their victims. They actually destroy people's lives for money. And that's exactly what this guy is doing. All right, because whether he knows it or not, right, those migrants, let's just say if it's just strictly about the migrants, which we know it's not, because it's already been shown that they're coming after even citizens of America, right? And it's not just Latinos. You getting the southern kingdom is getting, caught up in that as well, right? But let's just say if it's just strictly about the migrants from South America, whatever, Central America, those are still our people. So him making this agreement to let this devil come through in his cities, right, his jurisdiction, and use federal law enforcement, right, to round up Jake, to put them in these black sites, right, to get tortured and to be, just this through, let Esau just do whatever type of wickedness they want to. You are destroying people's lives for money, okay? Because at the end of the day, with that position that he is in as a mayor, he's getting paid for that. So him saying, yeah, I had to do it, X, Y, and Z, he, as it says here, you are like wolves who tear apart their victims. They actually destroy people's lives for money. But when it's all said and done, the Lord is going to do what? He is going to put and set up the righteous leaders, right? The righteous shepherds. Jeremiah 3, verse 15. It says, and I will give you pastors, right? Shepherds, according to mine own heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and with understanding. Okay. Those that, rule based off of the judgments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Based off of the principles and the oracles of the Lord. That is who the Lord is going to set up to be the ones that are the leaders of our people, man. Which are who? Starting with the prophets, right? Yahushua, King David, the 12 disciples, and the rest of the 144,000 men, all right, of Israel that come in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You see? So, hey, with that, I'm going to close it out, Lord willing. This was edifying unto the elect, all right? Because, like I said, this is going to just continue to keep happening more and more, where these leaders, right, these Jake leaders are going to show how they don't really give a damn about you Israelites, man. And you going to be left out there to the wolves on your own with no shepherd, no leader, right? Nobody to plead your cause. All right. And the ones that scoffed at the men of the Lord, the ones that were out there trying to show you the way for protection, show you the way for your safe haven, right? Which is in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with the elements, man. Okay. So with that, till next time, call Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.